Hello and welcome to Chapter 179 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing this evening?
Not too bad. The weekend was short, like always is. But no, I'm doing okay. Doing okay. Just gotta get prepped for going into work early again this week because I'm trying to raise some money for my Vegas fund.
There you go.
But yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Just getting back in the swing of things with work as well. I took Thursday, Friday off, so it was a little tiresome today. So we forge on. Hopefully, we'll do better than the Flash did this opening weekend.
Yeah,
Pretty
very
rough to see
disappointing.
those numbers. Not gonna lie. We'll get into that in a little bit. Uh, Before we do all that, though, let's get the network plugs out of the way, quick and painless. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 8 shows in total. On Mondays is Ranger Alliance, and that rotates bi-weekly with Slice of Film. On Tuesdays is DC Alliance. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays is bi-weekly is a walk through the multiverse. And Sundays, monthly, is World's Finest Triple Evers. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feed. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, and Star Wars Alliance. If you just want Marvel content, DC content, and Star Wars content only. But if you want all 8 shows on the GUA Podcast Network, stay subscribed to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically tip jar, like what we're doing. You want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras, you get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe go through DC films through the years. Batman Returns was our most recent entry. We have on deck Batman Forever. That will be put up this month. We also have Chris and Brent, the Marvel Alliance guys, doing their MCU rewatch, not only films, but the one-shots in the series as well. So stick with them as they cover the MCU. And give you their quick thoughts on that. We also have Katie going through Star Wars comics with her husband, Clay going through shows for the first time, and Joe's Walk the Verse. No,
Multiverse minutes.
Multiverse Minutes.
There we go.
Sorry. Joe's
All good.
Multiverse Minutes, which I had several crossovers with the Animation Nation. So if you're a Beast Wars or Beast Machines fan, check that out. And Joe also has a ton of summer stuff. And
I gotta get back on. I got this month's up, and now I gotta get ready to take care of next month's.
yeah,
Been a little rough.
catch up.
Busy month.
We're all playing catch up here now. But we thank everyone that's a patron. If you're not a patron, you can take a quick 30 to 60 seconds to rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice. That's always greatly appreciated and helps other people find the show, and that's always a good thing.
Do want to
Oh,
bring up before we get away from Patreon stuff. This Saturday we're doing our crossover, our GUA wide crossover, and if you are at the $5 tier over on Patreon, you'll get a link sent to you, and you can join us here in the chat. Well,
yeah.
here on the show, and we can talk to you. So that's another incentive for the $5 tier.
There you go, Joe. That's why Joe's always in there, like perfect swing in there that time. That was very well done, sir. Yes, I'm looking forward to our crossover on Saturday. It's going to be a fun time.
I believe
Uh,
it's at 9. This
I think
I,
so.
I think it's at 9.
Yeah.
Listen to
Well,
Marvel Alliance. Chris knows the time.
Chris knows, and yeah, he'll always give you a heads up there. So before we get into that, we have on the game in the chat saying 3 consecutive bombs in Black Adam, Shazam 2, and The Flash, opening
Yeah,
Pyro's Green Lantern and Watchmen, and made just 11 million more than Man of Steel's first Friday.
I didn't think Watchmen did bad in
I
theaters.
don't think it did great. I don't think it was that. I
Really?
think it was a rated R, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, so
No, very well.
this was back when the stigma of rated R wasn't going to make anything in the
That's
box
fair.
office
Okay,
either. Too.
that's fair.
Deadpool really smashed that ceiling, and Joker took it to
A whole new
a
level.
whole new level. But all in the game, yeah, 3 consecutive bombs.
Yeah,
Rough.
we're
Let's not underestimate. I will not rule it. Actually, no. I can rule it out. Flash is not going to recover and make
no.
like with legs. Just with all the stuff coming out with Indie coming out this week, it's dead. It's dead. And that brings us to our opening topic, Joe, which is the Flash stumbles its way through the opening weekend. I basically made my own newspaper. If I said WP office is on fire as we speak, yeah, it's not going well. I did see a very funny tweet where it was like The Rock's sitting back in a boardroom, and Black Adam was on the TV, and it's like The Rock watching destruction, waiting for his next chance to jump in and try to take over the studio.
Yeah, man. Whatever. Oh,
Oh
hey, man,
no,
guess what, S Bubs? By the way, since you commented on this video on this live stream, you're entered into the contest.
there you
It's
go.
currently just you and all in the game, so
Good
you
chance to win.
you both are winning.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So yes, Joe. It's not good. The Flash is projected now to end its worldwide box office run under 350 million, which will be less than Black Adam. I don't even know how that's possible.
Right? Because
Like,
Black Adam, while was entertaining, was not good. I know
no, it was
we
not
covered
good.
it and we did enjoy it, but it wasn't good.
No, comparative to this, like this was like leagues above Black Adam, in my opinion. The Flash film. I know it was at a jam-packed part of the summer, as opposed to Power of the Rock.
Not
Yeah.
wrong.
So like it was a jam-packed summer. I don't know if they need to look at spreading out. There's several different things we need to talk about as to why this went off the rails the way it did. Uh, Tommy B with the hat trick. What? How do you? Why do you think this went off the rails, Joe? This was like heralded as a fantastic film. James Gunn said this is one of the best comic book films he ever watched. Why did this have such a terrible opening weekend?
So
Like it was
honestly,
under the 70 projection, which everyone thought was like, wow. It was in the 60, I think 61.
funny enough, Brent over at Marvel Alliance kind of asked us the same thing. He asked, "Do you think DC has a brand problem with low box office of the last several movies?" I would like to posit that it was because Gunn and Safran putting out, "Hey, we're gonna reboot everything."
Hmm.
I would like to. I can make the argument that that kind of um, stopped people's just drive to go to these movies. You can make that argument. Would that argument stick? No, because The Rock and and Black Adam was before they announced Gunn and Safran.
Hmm.
But
Well, arguably too, that's just a bad film. Like you can
sure, well,
enjoy
yes,
it, but it's just
but The Rock draws people in. Like we talked about that way back when.
yes.
So I don't want to say it's superhero fatigue, because then you go over to Marvel and see their movies, and they're still making 500 million, 600 million, a billion. Like,
And we talk about when that Marvel Studios flashes across the screen. It's a different, like well, you
you're gonna
kind of
get at least. Oh, I don't want to say quality, because Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumanium
Thor, Love and
was
Thunder.
fine. Thor: Love and Thunder was fine. So I don't know why DC is having this problem. Why Warner Brothers is having this problem.
Yeah.
And I maybe they do need to do a hard reset. I mean, we're going to get the hard reset regardless, but maybe they need to take a step back and actually look at these next two films, and do they actually want to continue on in them in theaters?
You have to. This is why I'm glad you brought that up, because Luis Fernando, this is something that really grinds my gears a little bit. Luis Fernando tweeted out the same thing, that they should shelve these or put them on Max. Just from accounting side, there's 330 million in sunk costs in both of those films right now
And
that
that's
you will never get back.
after Blue Beetle was going to be HBO Max, and then they
They
upped
added it to
to
120
theatrical.
million. So
Yeah.
like I said, there's 330 million in sunk costs. You'd never get that back no matter what. So that's also the reason why Batgirl was canceled. It was only 60 million in sunk costs. So you were able to recoup some of that with tax credits. So I don't see Aquaman here at the end hurting the brand or Blue Beetle any more than like the brand is right now. I will say that the way they did the Flash, I have problems with, in terms of how they uh, kept going with, like, first it was CinemaCon. Well, actually, first it was a wave of celebrities that have seen the movie in private screenings. Then it was CinemaCon. Then it was
It was like the Wednesday before or the week before.
there was like week for 3 weeks. There was fan screenings like Monday,
Yeah.
Tuesday, and
And
I don't want to say that like you got the money from fans, but I feel like that the way some of these movies make their money, there is legs to it, and you get those legs. Part for me, I find that some of the films that have legs, they're talked about for weeks after their opening on social media. Like that's an indication for me. I kind of find that when a film is going, like it just nonstop, you see it all the time. I feel
Yeah.
like why they spread that out. You got the fans in there that love the film, and they talked about it, or they couldn't talk about it all, and kind of
Well,
like
not only
the
that, but also if you have all these fans
waves. It was in waves.
and critics and everybody seeing it, scoopers, if you want to call it, seeing it weeks in advance, they've already seen the movie. They're not going to go see it opening weekend. They don't
No,
have to go see it opening weekend now. So while yes, they got the money for the movie because they paid, most of them paid to go to those events and may have upcharged a little bit. Now, when it comes to opening weekend, they're not getting that money because it's already, they already paid for it.
yeah, and
Like
that
I
stuff
went and
says the
saw it
same thing
twice
in the
because I
chat.
wanted to see it twice. But like I know, for example, Clay, who is part of the network, went and saw it the week prior at an
Hmm.
event. I guarantee he didn't go see it opening weekend because he didn't have to. He already watched
No,
it the week before.
and he probably had discussions with maybe his co-host on Batman News Weekly, uh, like privately, because like people wouldn't chatting about it. But then that kind of hampers your enthusiasm to talk about it opening weekend too. And I
Yeah,
just feel like you get that big swell of people talking about it. And yes, there are some people, like general audience people, that you're not going to affect with that. And I still say the same thing. Like I don't think they know DCEU from Joker, from Batman. Like I have seen people come in asking, like, is Hulk going to be in this and stuff like that. And a bat, like you know what I mean? Like you're always going to have those people. And I feel like Batman is the safe. Like the Batman made 700 million. I feel like Batman as a brand is still safe.
it is, and the Batman was good enough to where it was. It, it's his own separate
Yeah,
universe.
yeah.
The Joker is his own
Well, you
separate.
even spent something just directly off of Batman, like Joker, his mortal enemy, and that made a billion. So, like, I feel like there still is stuff to DC. James Gunn's gonna have his work cut out for him because you're really gonna have to hit the ground running. I did see some people
Yeah, but
saying it.
at that go
Sorry.
ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
Finish your thought.
I did see some people saying, like, "Let's give this a chance, guys." Remember, like Thor, the like Captain America, the first one, like they didn't make big films big bang before we got to the Avengers, and I was wanted to haul my hair out because I'm like, "Where the hell were you guys in 2016? Like, the movie didn't make $1 billion, and you're like, ah, Ryan, ah,
They were
murder
complaining
people."
because it wasn't Marvel.
Yeah,
That's all that was.
and I just like I'm one of those people for James Gunn, like because we can't build a time machine and go back and make those people shut up. So I hope that people do that for James Gunn. Like give him the chance, give him a few films first. Yes, Superman Legacy needs to do good at the box office, but you got to remember some of these other films. I don't think they would make bank. So you have to remember that they're building a story in terms of that. So just like people bring box office receipts all the time, and yes, that is an indication that the movie like did well. But you also got to remember like budget is a big thing as well. So like
And
just
it
because
really
of
is. And the budgets have just been going up and up. And the return, it was shared in our chat. The return for the last like 5 movies
Mhm.
have just been gradually dropping. And I never realized how bad it was getting. I know first off, I'm not a numbers guy. I don't pay attention to it. That's just not my thing. I don't care
Mhm.
because I go to enjoy the movie. However, I also want the continuation of the story. And I know that if the numbers come back in the positive, we're going to get a continuation of the story.
Yeah.
The last however many, they haven't been positive.
No, and they've
Um,
been like I know there's been some with COVID too, so you have to like some of these look at them with like the Suicide Squad only made what 100 million, 120. Like yes, that's low because but that's you have to put some context, you have to put a star there and say like this was in the middle of COVID. Some
and it
theaters
was
weren't even
also getting
open.
released simultaneously on
Yeah.
HBO Max at the time.
Which means that then and there it was online for everyone to watch,
But
not just fans.
people still love the Suicide Squad. People
Yeah,
still
like
talk about it. They
yeah.
still put it. Hell, we put it high up on our list
Yes.
because
Yes.
it was a good movie. We got
Yep.
Peacemaker, the TV show, out of it. We're gonna
Yeah.
be getting Amanda Waller, the TV show, out of it. Like the that movie. If it, I mean, I don't remember numbers obviously, but like if it did great, if it did okay, we still got things that came out of that movie that we
Yeah.
are enjoying.
I think the HBO Max numbers, Joe, is what gave us those things because like the box office was not good. You put in context though, the box office, I think it was only in the 100, like not even 200 million. I think it was in the
Oof.
low 100 millions. But that, like I said, I'm pretty sure it was shut down. Like theaters were shut down in some parts of Canada when that was released too. Uh, or Peacemaker, I suppose. Maybe Zazoff heard the theme song for Peacemaker. He's like, sold, sold. Let's do this. Uh,
That's fun.
but yeah, it sucks because I really enjoyed it. Most of these films, maybe all but two, but there was, in my opinion, a little bit of a dip in quality since Wonder Woman 84 for some of these films. Like, I don't like.
In all honesty, ever since, yes, Snyder was a big component, and we've got the whole Snyder stuff going on.
It's his
Obviously,
fault for Flash, Joe. That's another reason kicking about it there too.
it's what Flash.
It's his fault for Flash and
Oh yeah,
DC's brand too. Yeah,
that's
that's kick
but,
kicking brand too.
but that's the thing. Like people, you could make the argument for that,
Hmm.
because he was building a brand. WB put him in charge to build a brand, and he started doing that with Man of Steel, with BVS, with what Justice League was gonna be. And while he did that, you had Aquaman and Wonder Woman playing off of those what was already established. Okay.
Those are all the most successful DCEU films with Suicide Squad, which also
Suicide
directly
Squad was in
played
there. Yeah,
off
it built
of
off it as well.
yeah.
So you've got the main Snyder movies, and then you've got everything building off of the Snyder movies. And then WB gets rid of Snyder, brings in Whedon. The movie flops because WB just had their hands in all of it. And from that point on, what do we get? We get Shazam, which
I
while
really
fun,
enjoyed Shazam, the first
yeah,
one.
the first one was fun, but that had no connection. Like it had a connection, but it had no connection to everything else. We got Birds of Prey. While fun, had a minimal connection because all you had was Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a picture of Boomerang. All right, fine, okay. Let's see what else. What else is there? Trying to think. Yeah, and then you swing into Wonder Woman 84, and Wonder Woman 84 is connected to the first one, Wonder Woman, which is connected to the Snyder stuff. But there was a lot of problems with 84.
Well,
Not
Woman
and
84 was
not
probably
just
worse.
it being connected to Snyder stuff. It was problematic.
It was a badly written movie.
So I can see their arguments where, oh yeah, this is all Snyder's fault. It's all WB's fault. If
Yeah.
WB hadn't pressured Snyder into doing what he was doing, we would have got a Justice League movie in 2017, been great, and then he would have been done with all the stuff by 2020, and then we wouldn't have had to, have the Snyder cut, release the Snyder cut stuff, and all this
But
stuff.
that's in a different multiverse,
It's a
unfortunately.
very different multiverse, but I don't know. Like we could have had a unified universe back in 2013
Yeah.
and 2015 and 2017. Like we could have had that. But now we have this, and it sucks because Flash, this Flash is connected to all that. It's literally the same Flash. Just like it was the same Aquaman, just like it was the same Wonder Woman. You can't get away from that
No.
unless you reboot.
Yes, Bubs. From the top rope, the butterfly effect of cutting 30 minutes.
You're not wrong.
You gotta add in for money. That's the only reason to get more screens.
Yeah.
To get more screens per day, and that kind of backfired.
And it
But
hurt them. And then they did it again with Justice League. So like WB and
they've learned that lesson though. They like
no, they didn't.
yes,
They've
they
been doing
hired-
it since the 70s.
No, I'm just talking about No, they hired they created DC Studios and hired 2
Oh,
people to
okay.
run it to let them be in charge of it, like, they have and that's why, like, part of me
Yeah, but
blew
that's
my
because they've
like
just been bleeding money left and right. So yes,
yeah.
they learned their lesson, but it cost them millions
Very
and billions of
yeah,
dollars.
very painful lesson to learn, like, very painful financially, the lesson they had to learn, but now you have like I said, I'm excited for Gunn, just you people have to, like, give him a chance to get the ball running, that's what I'm afraid of with Zaslav. Joe, before we go any further, let's take our first ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network, we don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm gonna give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and you'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. So I want to ask, what do you think this means for Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2? Are these dead on arrivals? Are these could you never know with Blue Beetle? Could it be I don't see much in the
I mean,
summer.
I hope not,
Aquaman
but
made $1 billion last time when people
sure.
thought it was DOA.
But the thing with Blue Beetle, which I think Blue Beetle might succeed just a little more than Aquaman, only because Gunn, I think it was Gunn, had said
Yep.
that the character itself is connected to DCU,
Yeah.
but it's not the first DCU film
Yes,
because that's gonna be
that's true.
Legacy.
That's
That's
true.
gonna be
It's gonna
Superman
be
Legacy.
legacy. It's
So I
gonna
think
be in the DCU world. Like you could even
correct.
see like a Superman flying on TV, like just the CGI of him flying, not the actual person. You know what I mean? You could see
Yeah,
something like
exactly. You
that
don't have to
as a
see
tie-in,
the
like it's
actor.
in this
Yeah.
movie, but this is
Which is
not the first.
what we put forward months ago, like when we were starting to be concerned going
Yes.
forward, when we thought Flash was safe. We're like, well, Blue Beetle, will Blue Beetle succeed? We don't know. Is it part of this universe? Is it part of the new universe? We don't know. You could easily make it part of the new universe.
Hmm.
It sounds like they're going to, which is good.
As Bob
That's-
says, I think Blue Beetle will break even. That month's pretty safe in terms of competition. That's what I thought. As Bob, I didn't think August was a jam-packed month like June, for
I mean,
example.
I thought, sure, June's a jam packed month, but I thought we were going to be safe with Flash because we had a week between
In
Flash
in
and
in
Indiana
Indy,
Jones.
yeah.
Um, I would be very surprised if it gets number one this coming weekend. I wouldn't
Oh
be
yeah,
surprised. I would
I
not be
don't.
surprised whatsoever if Across the Spider Verse.
Yeah, I don't think it will, Joe. I think it could definitely get that have that unfortunate distinction there.
Yeah. As
I
for
think Blue
Aquaman,
Beetle will
though,
be okay.
yeah,
Sorry,
Blue Beetle should be fine. I
yeah.
think Blue Beetle will
That's
actually
what the
make money.
budget at all. Like the budget is 120 million once they bumped it up to take it from HBO Max. You
Yeah.
basically need to get 300 for no one to complain about you.
Well, let's see if they can even make that.
Yeah.
As for Aquaman, though, I mean, I we haven't had a trailer yet, which is normal. We still
Yeah.
have we're about 6 months out, so we should be getting a trailer soon. Other than that, I have no idea what this movie's about.
All I know is that Arthur has to team up with his brother to take down Black Manta. That's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, gotcha. But I don't know. It's.
But Alan the Game says had a sneaky suspicion at the start of the year that Blue Beetle could be the best reviewed of the 4 DCU movies.
I mean, we're 2 movies down.
It's gonna be
It's
tough for it
probably
to be
going
the
to
best. It's gonna be tough.
be.
The Flash was critically praised by everyone.
I
No
look,
hard feelings
Bubs,
coming.
I want to see that. That looks hilarious. No Hard Feelings looks hilarious. So I wouldn't be surprised if that takes number one spot. But
It'd be
you
cool
know,
just for comedy's sake because like I want to see more of those films being made, not the
yeah,
big
we don't
black
need
box
the
of
action blockbuster every single week.
yeah.
Like
So
I know what was his name. Tom Cruise is all pissed because Oppenheimer and Barbie are taking up screens from Mission Impossible. But like, whatever, dude.
move your movie, dude. Move your
That's not
movie.
happening.
Or ask Zulu to do something for you.
Yeah. Go,
So
go back to the Church of Scientology and you know, worship your fish god and take care of it that way.
yeah, so
Allegedly.
I
Allegedly.
allegedly. I I really if I hope Blue Beetle will be fine. I think, like I said, on the game about the like critically reviewed, Flash was a darling. Like this is the one thing. Let's not pretend because BVS's legs were cut out from under it. Obviously, the second week it was terrible drop. It was critically panned and bombed. Like the Flash was a critical darling. Like everyone and their son was talking about how great this was for weeks leading into this film. So I don't know. Normally, when films do this bad, they're critically banned, which this was not. So I'm confused as to how this turned so bad. Like, or was it just the projections being off, Joe? Could that have been
I
a
don't
case?
I don't know. I
Uh,
don't know because yeah, you're right. Like everybody was raving about this movie. When we were seeing numbers, like I think what Rotten Tomato had like a 96 or 93 or something like that. Like it was up there, and then all of a sudden it gets released and it drops down to
69.
yeah, nice. So it's just
I remembered the number.
shocker. Um, I I don't know. I think now I know people are critical. They want the Marvel um
On the
they want the
game,
Marvel magic.
you're the guy in the chair. You're
Thank
always
you,
there with
RJ.
the numbers.
66.
Flash is 66 on Rotten Tomato and 54 out of 100 Metacritic.
Like I don't it's a good movie. It's
I
not the
really
best
enjoyed it.
movie.
No,
Like you're never gonna have the best movie. The best movie is like Dark Knight and
and even
Across
that,
the Spider-Verse.
and
Like
with
you've
the
got
Dark
like
Knight,
those two are great movies.
and even the Dark Knight, any like rational uh, action fan would tell you the fighting is absolutely dog shit in the
But
Dark
it's not the
Knight.
fighting that makes it a
But
great
that's not
movie.
that's what I mean, it's the story in that. I'm just saying, like, there's even parts of that movie that you could look at as a critic and be like, "I don't know, you could have did better fight choreography."
Yeah.
But still, it is a fantastic film because that's at the end of the day what you need to do to get this brand back up and running. You need to tell fantastic stories. You need to tell
Yeah.
good stories, compelling stories with good characters. No amount of CGI, no amount of explosions, no amount of top tier actors is going to change. You need a great story. That is the most important thing, and that's the one
And
thing when James Gunn. Sorry.
While Flash had a good story, some of the action scenes were just fine.
Hmm.
Like so that yes, that hurt it both ways. Maybe that's why people were not happy with it. I don't know. I don't know why the turn why
I think it was the
DC
marketing
movies
plan.
have not. You think it's what? Sorry.
The marketing plan they did, where the all the fan screenings in the like several weeks leading up to the film. I think that really quelled the opening week hype and talk about like people being like, "Oh my god, I saw this! I got to talk about it." I don't think that was there, and I think that had to do with like the 7,500 fan screenings that was there. No offense to anyone that got to go to fan screenings, I'm sure it was awesome, but you would have been there opening weekend anyway. And that's
Now, like the Batman fan screening, that was the Tuesday before it was released, right?
yes, like even the
Yeah.
week of that. Some of those are like one night things, okay, but the Flash seemed like it did it
Flash had
three
one,
three
like you
nights a
said earlier.
week,
It
3 nights
was
a week for 3 weeks. It
yeah.
was like yeah, and I'm just like Uh, I don't know. And Alan Game says it has a B cinema score. Yeah, that well, we
Mhm.
know when we saw that B, we knew that there was no gonna be no legs with this
Yeah,
film. So
it was the wind was knocked out of it. It was bad.
that shows you really if there how much word of mouth there is about a film. So yeah, I don't know. I hope that Blue Beetle and Aquaman are successful. I'm gonna go see them. I'm really excited. And again, people, yes, I know that you are starting to practice what you preach now in terms of supporting gun. But please just be calm about like the first few movies. Yes, go watch Superman Legacy, but like Creature Commando stuff like that. Let's relax. Let's see some of the plan first. Let's see some of the content before we go asking for another reboot. Like let's give the man some time. That's the one thing that I didn't want. I didn't want to see. I saw some people saying like change the whole thing and then at least Luis Fernando stuff about put this both these on Max. I'm like, what business would you be running where we're just like, yeah, let's just flush it. We're highly in debt as it is. Like we're having money problems. We're not even putting content on Max. We're selling our content to other streaming platforms because we don't have the money.
Yeah.
But we're going to put these two giant blockbusters that we spent 330 million on Max because we're something about the DC brand. It just oh, that's a really good one. I had to stop talking. S Bubs asked, and you start this, Joe.
It'd be dead.
Hypothetically, if Superman Legacy flops, what would even happen to the DCU?
The rest is dead. Like they may put out the movies that were made, but anything else that was in like either pre-production, stop. Like they're done. Like it'd be one of those things where it'd be one of
I,
those things
I
where
had that reaction live on the show. Alpha Game. Alpha Game says, "Oh God."
it would definitely be one of those things where they would just stop everything,
I,
stop production. They won't, but that's what they should do. Because if that movie Gunn is going all in on this, and he's starting with Legacy, and if Legacy doesn't do the numbers they want, which look, that's what kind of what Man of Steel was. Man of Steel had a ton of numbers, but people didn't like the movie. People didn't like the movie, and then it started to like waver because everybody's comparing this brand to Marvel. And guess what, guys? Marvel's not doing great
It
behind the
didn't
scenes
start
anymore.
off with $1 billion films either. That's the other thing. Like started at 330, like 600. Like we just kept building, building, building. Had a couple dips with Captain. Like it went up and down. Iron Man was basically the main marketable star in the first phase.
Well, yeah, and then the second phase, I
Captain
think it'd be
America
more
came
Captain
along.
America. But
Yeah,
even if you look at the second phase movies, Captain America was probably the better one out of the phase two.
yeah, I agree with you there.
Because you had Thor: Dark World, you had Iron Man 3, Guardians was a hit, was a surprise hit. But then you also had Avengers: Age of Ultron, which
You
I've
need
got a ton of
time.
problems with.
You need time, like I said, and with SBUB's hypothetical, I assume they would keep forging on, but I
Well,
don't
and
know
they would. Like I said,
how.
they would finish out the first chapter probably because by the time Legacy comes out, barring the writer's strike gets wrapped up here within the next month because they need to pay their writers. Um, then you have all the other projects already in the books. You would have if Legacy hits, you've got like the next 3 on deck, more than likely done, being ready to be released. With the next, I don't know, 2 or 3 probably in post production. Uh, so you'll release all those because they're there, and then you're going to look at if people actually like those, if the numbers do good, and go from there.
It would be a disaster.
It's
SBUBs. James Gunn's hair would be would turn clear. Uh,
I
it
think
could only go more white, so it would.
at that point that him and Saffron just like, hey, so we're done. Hey, Rock, you want this now?
Yeah. Kevin,
Let's
got any
change the
movie? Got
hierarchy of
any?
power.
Let's go back to Guardians 4. No, I'm not going to even think that on the game, SBUBs, and I feel on the game's way about it. So it's just it's tough to see because everyone's hyped about the Flash, and even the way they end it, you could have had it. You could have came back to it if you did a crisis type event. You'd be like, okay, this is the Earth here. We can come back to this Earth.
Could have
So
easily done that, but
yes.
they took it out.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Bob. Put down 2032. Twitter catches on fire and implodes because it wouldn't last a year. The true nightmare timeline.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Oh man.
For what people who are listening, SBubs put 2031 DCU Phase 1 has flopped. Zack Snyder has been appointed as the CEO of WB, the true nightmare timeline.
timeline. Oh
God
my.
damn. Okay. Yeah. No.
He's
I love Snyder. Like, fine.
yeah. I
I'd
do
be there
like a.
for it, but the
No, my
Twitter
God! All
everyone's
those
burned.
heroes would be too old. That's the thing now. That's you can't go back. That's the
Well,
one thing. As
he would
someone who's
yeah.
a huge fan, you can't go back. Like I'm sorry, Ben will be 60 at some point, like in the next 5 to 10 years. Like not even, I don't think. So you can't go back. That's it. They're
I
push
mean, look, we
forward.
had George Clooney show up in the end of Flash, and he's like what,
Yeah, I'm
60
sure he was
some?
doing like his like, yeah, but he didn't have to be in gigantic
All
bat
he had
shape.
to do was walk out of a car and walk up to
He had to look
Ezra Miller.
handsome. He's been doing that for 40 years.
Good point. Yeah, that's true.
George, walk out, look handsome, and chat with this guy that not quite sure who you are. Got it. Something I
I
do
actually
every
don't
day.
think that was Ezra Miller on set. Because that was another scene where his face looked
I
off.
didn't know that, but I was also getting ready to leave, so I wasn't. I was like half and
That's fair.
half. So
It looked to me. It looked like his face was off a little bit. Like they had superimposed special VFX's face onto the double's body,
Ooh.
It was the same words, like the same whatever, but I could be wrong. I don't know because I
I need
know
to
they
see it
filmed it.
again. I need to see it again to be certain about that.
Well,
They
give
did
it
film a couple of
honestly,
the other
with
ones,
the
but
way
I
it's
don't know if
looking, give it like a month and it'll be on Max.
that would make sense though, Joe, because I don't know if they got him back for the final. Like, had that scene changed a couple times. I don't know if they got him back for that final change.
Which I mean that one, what they say, it was filmed
Couple
a
months,
month,
3 months out,
3 months,
3
something like
months.
that
Yeah,
before. They might have, but it
maybe.
also could have been in the middle of all of his lawsuits too. So who
Yeah.
knows?
So, Joe, let's take a look at some news now, and hop off the negative DC train and talk on the
Awesome.
positive for a second. Superman
Positive.
Lois has been renewed for season 4, 10 episodes.
Well, that's cool.
The
What do we have to pay for that?
7 series regulars, Joe.
Hmm.
That's what we had to pay for that. The Cushings are gone. The Irons are gone.
Hmm.
Uh,
General Lane's gone.
General Lane's gone, and
Chrissy. Yeah,
Chrissy's gone. That's the catch
that's,
there, and Lex has been promoted to series regular.
which that makes sense.
Yeah,
Especially we haven't seen the final 2 episodes. Those start this week. Um, and so it makes sense that Lex Luthor, Superman's biggest bad, should be the main
to,
villain for season 4.
and we know he's coming with fire because he was wrongfully convicted. That's what we found out the last episode. Myself and Joe talked about. So I'm glad we got this. I'm a little disappointed that some of these series regulars, like I enjoyed the Iron family, the Cushing family,
Right?
could have
Well,
taken. Actually, Kyle started to become endearing towards the
they
end
got
there.
better. The
Yes.
Cushings got better.
Actually, everyone but Lana wasn't really. Lana didn't redeem herself as a parent that much. We're only like
Well,
3 episodes from the slap, so.
well,
But I'm just kidding. Obviously, Joe's right. They have been a lot better the last few weeks.
but they also kind of forgot about their other daughter, who,
Yeah,
except
who
for the one time when she ran away.
we all don't forget about her. We all forget
Well,
about her.
that's the
Man.
whole. That's yeah. That's like any comedy when you have a little sibling that is in the show, and then they go upstairs and never come back for 3 seasons.
Yeah. Boy
Family
Meets
Matters did
World.
that. Boy Meets World did that. Yeah, there's a couple other ones.
Was not rule out them appearing. They're just not series regulars. They could show
Right.
up for a couple episodes and wrap up some of their stories, which would be
But
nice, especially
here's the
for
thing
John
though,
Henry.
like Lana, and I know we haven't talked about these episodes yet, but I know we're going to soon. But Lana had just talked about in a couple episodes about maybe running for mayor or
Yeah.
maybe running for senate. So that's a good indication to be like, hey, you got this mayoral, you won the mayoral race. Now you have to move out of Smallville closer to the
Or
capital
you
of
or
state.
you move the family back to Metropolis.
They didn't- they come from Metropolis. Oh, you
Yeah,
mean the
the
Kent?
Kents.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and just leave
No,
everybody else back there.
that
For the
actually would be the smarter idea.
you're only doing it for 10 episodes. Yes, 10
I hope
episodes
so. On the game, a
on the
tight
game.
10. I hope
Yeah.
it's gonna be. I've been saying that forever. Like I like the 10 episode series or 10 episode season because you do have it's nothing but story start to finish.
Yeah.
Now,
There's
this is also CW,
No,
so
Superman Lois has stayed good. Like season 3 is good so far from what I've seen. So, let's get it off the airwaves now before it becomes the Flash, where you're season 9. You're like, oh my god, what am I watching?
but that was also
What am I
season
watching
9,
here?
20 plus episodes a season.
Most of them, yeah, most of the
This
seasons. That's
this
right.
is 4 seasons, 10 to 16 episodes, 10 to
Yes,
15.
but I will enjoy the 10 episodes. There will be no filler, and sad to see those series regulars go. But if it means us getting a final farewell send off to the show,
That
I'm glad.
that means by episode 7, I think, it'd be like the 50th episode, I believe.
Yeah,
That's pretty fun.
crazy. We're in season 4 in this 50th episode.
Well, yeah, but
Like,
normally it's season 3 for shows, and it's 50th
yes,
episode.
like
So
just at the start of season 3, which
yeah,
still, uh,
that's new for us.
I'm glad we're getting another season of this show.
Yeah,
Joe, the Penguin. Uh, Two little tidbits on the Penguin. It's rated R,
which
which
is
I
cool.
think we both assumed that from the trailer, even that it might lean that way,
Yeah,
especially where it was going on Max.
makes sense.
And it's the filming is halted because of the writer's strike,
Pay your
and
ends.
won't pick back up until the writer's strike ends with fair pay and conditions for writers from deadline. That was.
Right.
So we obviously are of the same boat. Pay the goddamn writers, please, please, please. They deserve it. Joe, there was a panel for Antsy Festival, which I didn't even know what this was beforehand. But
Sure is.
DC WB Cartoon Network had a animated panel, and we got some DC animated properties announced. A
Yeah.
couple of them you know already, but a few of them you don't. There's Beast Boy, Lone Wolf. There's Batman, Cape Crusader. There's My Adventures with Superman. So those are the first two that we knew. There's Creature Commandos, and in brackets it was DCU. And then we have
Which we know.
Merry Little Batman, which is a film, and then the Bat Family, which is a spin-off show. And
No,
then
that's
Harley Quinn and Kite Man, hell yeah.
which that's awesome.
Yes, and
That's great.
that's the old Kite Man show, which is going to be Cheers, like Kite Man Cheers type thing. They renamed it and have it as this, which is
I'm looking
Kite
forward to
Man's
that. Honestly,
catchphrase.
the Merry Little Batman, is that what exactly is that? Because
I
is
think
that
that's
like Little
toddler
Gotham?
type. I think
Okay,
that yeah, I think that's toddler type. I could be
toddler,
wrong with
like
that.
it's
Please.
aimed at the younger audience,
Yes,
or
that's what I
okay,
think. I think it's aimed at the younger audience. I could
okay,
be wrong
because
about that
because
because
I hear that and I think Lil Gotham, the comic, which is just it's very like fifth dimensional imp characters, sort of, but they're all in like fun hijinks. So I doubt that's what it is, but honestly, if it's we've got we got Cape Crusader, we got My Adventures with Superman. I'm assuming Beast Boy is going to be another like teen adult, young adult centric. Um, Obviously, Creature Commandos is going to be part of DCU, so that's going to be more adult. So it's having this, which is be similar to what the Batmobile show. It'd be great. So I don't know.
so I got a little bit here. It says produced by Warner Brothers Animation based on characters from DC. Merry Little Batman is directed by Mike Roth from a screenplay by Morgan Evans, Teen Titans Go. Roth also serves as executive producer alongside Sam Register. Following the events of the holiday film, Bat Family follows Batman, Alfred, and young Damian Wayne, who has taken on the mantle of Little Batman, alongside a few newcomers to Wayne Manor as they navigate the fun and frustration of life as a super family.
Okay,
Yeah.
that should be
So
fun.
yeah, it was like I said, it's
Also, when you
I
said the director, whatever Roth, I went Eli Roth, and I'm like, oh, that got turned real quick.
shout
Just
out
saying.
to Armani Martinez with a $1.99 super chat. Uh, Zach
Right?
gets DC cinematically 100% look and presence. We agree with you. Both of myself and Joe's top films have our Snyder films, but we also enjoy other films as well, like other DC films. I think only two. Well, for me personally, I even enjoyed Suicide Squad when it came out. Like I thought that was
Yeah,
enjoyable to
because
me.
I didn't know what
The
was going on behind
baggage,
the scenes.
yes.
Yeah,
So, only film I didn't enjoy going, was Wonder Woman 84. And Justice League theatrical, but I don't really count that in my because we got a different film after the cover for that.
yeah.
So, yeah, we agree with you, 100% there. So, Joe, yeah, and Harley Quinn, Kite Man, I'm excited to see that one as well. I think that Kite Man was a hit, character on Harley Quinn show, which was a hit show as well. So I'm interested to see if that can cross over, or will it just be the one season? That's it.
Yeah.
So, moving on. Batman: Kate Crusader is described as everything that Bruce Timm wanted to do in Batman the animated series, but because it ran on a kids channel, he was not able to do it. What do you think about this quote, Joe? This worries me.
Uh,
This makes me nervous.
uh, as long as it's not
The
the
Batman, the
Batman
Barbara.
killing joke,
Mhm.
him and Barbara thing, I'm
Or
fine.
Batman and Harley Quinn, that animated movie, because
I
that
still
was
haven't
a
watched that.
disaster. Oh, don't ever watch
But no,
that.
you
Don't.
say it's a disaster. Her and Nightwing. That doesn't bother me. You know why?
No,
They're
it's
both
just a no,
consenting adults.
it's just a disaster. It's just a disaster. You will
Eh.
wait and see. Okay, you watch it. You load it up and watch it. Maybe we'll discuss it on the Animation Nation, but I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Look, I still gotta watch
All
a
those
bunch
other
of
films.
others. They're all over there.
You know he is on the game. You know you know he is.
What heroes do.
So, Joe, also, Sam Ismaili's Metropolis series for Apple TV has been canceled before production could even begin. Are we surprised about this with the DCEU starting up now? I'm not.
You know what Metropolis is, right?
Isn't it just a show about Metropolis and not
No,
have
it's
anything to do with?
something completely different. I meant to tell you that
I
it's
thought
not
it was
comics
no way.
connected.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
There was a Metropolis show being developed though.
I mean, if it's based off of the picture that goes with this one,
No, but there was a Metropolis show being
was there?
developed. Yeah, so
Okay.
like go alongside of Gotham and Krypton. I do know there was at one point. I guess I was uh, wrong on that one.
Because I mean, it's you've got the well, shit.
I thought there was, but the worst. Well, I guess we'll confirm something that we talked about on the show multiple times. The worst kept secret in the DCU. The new director of the Brave and the Bold is Andy Muschietti. Going along with that, WB also signed them to a exclusive deal, both Muschietti's TV and film exclusive first look. So they're all in on the Muschietti's, even like regardless of the Flash's success. What do you think about him 100% in on the Batman Brave and the Bold, Joe?
I'm fine with it. I still I liked it. I like this. I like the Flash. I'm fine with him being on Batman on
Same,
Brave
and
and Bold.
I thought he did great with the Batman action in the Flash, both for Keaton and Affleck. So sign me up for that.
Yeah.
Uh, Smart of him to sign that deal before this weekend. That's a good agent on the game. That's what we call a good agent. Uh, so, Joe, it sounds like Gal Gadot maybe like kind of confirming that she's done as the Flash, saying that she feels empowered developing other stories that she can feel passionate about. Following the cancellation of Wonder Woman 3, she hasn't promoted either of the appearances she's made in
I think
Shazam
2
2
movies.
or The Flash. So I feel like this is all but confirming without Gunn. We've seen Gunn not say anything about like Gal staying or anything like that. I pretty much think that we won't see her
Considering
again.
that they cut out what they cut out of
Hmm.
Flash and Aquaman, that being Cavill and Affleck. Yeah,
Done.
that's fine. Like we got 2 movies with her. We've got 2 main titles with her. We got
Yep.
her appearing in BVS and 2 Justice League movies, and then 2 guest stars, cameo appearances in 2 other movies. That's a great run. You know,
Yes, that's better run than Superman got.
100%.
Yeah.
So
So
like, thank you for being Wonder Woman. Like you were awesome. I wish you would have got a better universe, but it's fine. She's going back over to Fast and Furious. She'll get
yeah,
picked
and
for the final
also
film.
thanks for putting Wonder Woman back into the
Zeitgeist, yeah.
zeitgeist. Yeah, like I obviously Linda Carter, but you picked up that mantle and ran with it. Fantastic. If this is the end of the
That is
season.
about the only downside is we're not going to get the finish of that story.
Well,
With
seeing even what they did with the Flash here, I'll never rule out if they could ever get their shit together for a few years, a crisis level event. I won't ever rule that out.
yeah, no, like that's possible.
Yes.
But like you left something open at the end of 84 that would have worked in the final third film. We'll never get the conclusion of that. But then
Yeah.
again, we're never going to get the conclusion for a lot of DC films. I just have to live with that. Sorry.
Uh, Armani Martinez says, "I'm pretty upset we won't get a Injustice 3 because of James Gunn and his connected universe idea and not wanting to do those darker stories." Now, Armani, I will say that there is a Elseworlds label open up, so you could get potential stories if you want, like to make an Injustice 1, 2, 3 type thing. If you're talking about just the games, I know that some of the games will be connected in the cinematic universe, the DCU, but not all of them. I know that for a fact. So we may still be able to get the Injustice 3 if you're looking for it in the game side of thing. And if you're looking for it, I would love to see a miniseries for Injustice. Like that's what it needs to be done as a nice miniseries
I
would
mean,
be.
end of the day, go check out the comics if you haven't already. The comics are amazing.
Oh, yeah. Do not check out the animated film. That's the only thing I will say.
Yeah,
Like that's just
I at
very
least watched that
clear.
one.
Yeah, well, yeah, you jumped on that grenade. So, I'm not gonna, like I said, I will try James Gunn's films. I'm a DC fan first. I'm gonna go. Like I really enjoyed Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. Gonna go in with an open mind. No Superman's completely different character than that. But who's to say we won't see some sort of Injustice take down the line? Like I said, even an Elseworlds type story, it would get it for me.
Yeah, I think
So,
we gotta get through the first whatever the first game that's gonna be connected to the DC universe. We gotta get through that first and see where it lands in the new cinematic universe.
mhm,
But again, who knows what's gonna happen if Superman Legacy flops? So
that's true.
S Bubs.
So, yeah, thanks for putting it in the air, S Bubs. So, Joe, from the rumor mill, there is a rumor that a DCU censored project on the Rogues is in development. The project will be a crime heist series set in Chapter 2 of the DCU. If this will be the case, I assume it will be for a new Flash and a completely new, and that's why it will be set in Chapter 2 to give enough time in between the Flash now and Chapter 1 of DCU.
Yeah, I mean the good thing is the only Flash villain we have that would be in the Rogues would be Boomerang, and he died in the Suicide Squad. So they literally have the pick of the litter
Well, you can
of
just do new
villains.
Captain Boomerang as well, right? You can
Well, yeah,
just,
yeah, they're going to, but I'm
yeah.
saying like we don't have to recast a Captain Cold or
No, yeah, they're all
Heat
new. We
Wave.
haven't seen any of them. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
So it's a good thing that you have no attachment to those characters besides the TV show, of course.
yeah, yes,
Uh, and James Gunn liked the comment saying that the Flash didn't end up on the DC universe Earth. Obviously, we kind of knew that going in. I don't know why that
what's
was.
funny is that he says this, and yet they still took out the Affleck thing at the very end,
Yeah.
having the
Why? Well,
multiverse or whatever.
yeah. Or why not leave in the Cavill if that was the Earth that you don't care about, just for a final send off?
Yeah,
Just old fashioned like that. But I digress.
we're not writers or
No,
creators. We're just podcasters.
and fans. Uh, so, Joe, that ends our news. We have our final retro recap of season 2 in Smallville. Going to insert it later because I forgot. Uh, so we will. We have our final episode of Smallville to talk about, season 2, episode 23, Exodus, the season finale of season 2, which I forgot how much I enjoyed this episode, especially
I
coming off the last couple. Really enjoyed this one. This was a great episode with, I mean, you couldn't feel worse for Clark by the end of it. We cast him as brother or sister,
yeah,
and terrible
I
pain, and he rides off as a total badass. Completely forgotten that. The only annoying stuff is Chloe going around being like, "Wee, wee, 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 wee,
yeah,
wee,
yeah.
wee." That was the only thing. But I try to keep my mind every time I see her. I just kind of picture her as a giant CW logo. I'm like, okay, just do your thing, do your thing. I know we need it here. This is what this show has become.
Wow. Um, I forgot a lot of this episode. I will say that, and I mean, I know we didn't watch a ton of season 2. I mean, we watched a good chunk of it, but we had a bunch of some weeks off.
Yeah,
Then we had some times where we had some movies, obviously. So I don't remember a lot of season 2. I felt like season 2 of Smallville definitely hit that like sophomore slump
yeah, I
in
agree,
the thing.
Joe. I agree.
The ending, like once it started going and once it started playing, I'm like, okay, the pieces are starting to fall together. I'm remembering this. I remembered the ending when Clark gets the ring, gets the red ring, and goes driving to Metropolis. For some reason, I thought that was season 3 at the end of season 3, but also I knew at the end of season 3 was when Chloe dies. Chloe and her dad
Yeah,
dies because that is what draws in Lois into season 4.
yeah, who's awesome.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah,
Um So like I'm remembering this, and then like as soon as I see Lex and Helen hop on the plane to leave, I'm like, oh yeah, she came back because she was bad or something. I don't know.
That's a good question to ask, Bubs, and it all depends on content. I think we'll probably cover it here on DC Alliance because we were maybe short on content, whereas the Animation Nation, I can go back in the back catalog of episodes, and right now we're covering X-Men, so I
But
think
that's
we'll
gonna
cover it
be
here, depending on that, depending
that's
on
on
how.
Cartoon Network, right? That's gonna be on
Yeah,
Cartoon Network, Adult
yeah.
Swim. Is that gonna end up on Max the next day?
I'm not sure.
Because if it's
Uh,
not,
I
then
got
it'll
your
be a
back.
while.
I got your back. So
We'll figure it out.
yeah,
Back to Smallville.
yeah,
I enjoyed the episode. This
yeah.
is it for the season. This is probably one of the better ones that I can remember. Um, yeah, yeah.
Same.
Clark is a terrible spot right now.
Yeah, like I do like how his father even says, like your actions have consequences, Clark. Like that's what we've been trying to teach you,
Yeah,
and that's something that hammers home. And what does Clark do when he finds that out? Runs away. So, no, I did really enjoy this. I loved hearing Stamp's voice as Jarrell and how
100%.
ominous he is. Yeah, and the S burn in his chest, like that looks so
The
cool.
8.
I do. they talked about it on Talkville, and I do remember seeing a blooper of that back in the day where Pete is going to touch it and Clark goes like, "Oh," and he's like, "Hey," like faking it because it's just something that the prop people made on him. So yeah, I do remember that, and they talked about that on the podcast. It was very enjoyable last episode. Kristen Kirk showed up
Did
for I
she?
want to
Nice.
say 20 minutes. So it was good. So check that out. It
Speaking
was
of,
really
hold
fun.
on. Before we finish off that, in the 2000s, when we were making out, did we just like completely mouth suck everybody? Because
No,
that
just
was
on TV, just on
okay.
TV,
Because
just to
that was weird.
convey, yeah. And
It was
Clark
just like,
says, and
oh, we're
they
gonna make
both
out.
said
Yonk.
yeah, they said there was no tongue.
I'm not
Baloney
talking
on
about
that.
tongue. I'm like Clark's lips, Clark's mouth, like went all over
Yes.
Kristen's or Lana's like face, and I'm like, that's weird.
That was kissing in the early 2000s,
I
Joe.
guess I don't remember
Just
that,
trying to
but then
survive
again,
for
that
air.
might have been. Ugh.
I wasn't kissing anybody in the year 2000, I can promise you that.
All right, thanks, S Bubs. Pretty sure My Adventures is confirmed next day on Max. I
Yeah,
thought
you're
it
right.
was, but I
You're
couldn't
right. Yeah.
remember. So thank you
Yes.
for
Guy in the chair.
double checking. Second
So
guy in the
yeah,
show. We had
really enjoyable. I know that Taco's going on a little bit of break, and they'll come back. When they come back, we'll come back for season 3 as well. I'm excited to get into it. It was it's enjoyable. We're going to start getting to season long story arcs and stuff like that. So I'm interested to hear what they think about it and Tacville as well. So if there's anything super interesting, we'll tell you guys. Send you there, like as check this out. This is a good interview. And on that note as well, the Inside View episode with James Gunn, but it's a really enjoyable episode as well. I'd say go out and listen to that. And Kevin Smith is talking about. I forgot that last week. The the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever exists, and hopefully, maybe soon we'll see it. It is really funny because myself and
be
Joe are going to
nice
get together to talk about Batman Forever to put up on
real
the
soon.
Patreon
Yeah.
channel. So it's just fun. We'll have a little discussion about that then too. Joe, I think that's everything.
Real quick before we leave, just want to remind everybody in the chat right now,
Mhm.
if you guys have commented in the chat, which means literally all for you, S Bubs, Amari, all in the game. And how do you pronounce that one? Is it Hashashasha? That's not how it is. I apologize.
You're not getting me. You're not get. I
Actually,
don't
it's
know.
gone. So nope, there it
No,
is.
still there.
Uh,
Still there.
yeah.
So
Hash
we'll get
Shashin me.
we'll
That's you four are in the running for you're in the drawing
yeah.
for some comics. I got 3, he's got 2. We'll figure out how. We'll figure out
Yes.
what next week we'll do the drawing for that. We'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know.
Yeah. Joe, it's been a blast.
This is great. Good episode.
Yeah. See you next week. Hopefully better news for DC fans.
Bye, y'all.
Later, everyone.